Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to The Angry Chicken, the podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and with me tonight is Willie Dills Gregory. Jocelyn is, sadly ill. She can't join us tonight.
Aw. Everyone in the chat saying I look like Mitch Hedberg, so I'm going to go ahead and say, is it a hippopotamus or just a really cool opotamus? There you go. Best Mitch Hedberg impression I can summon out of nowhere.
Oh, man, I feel like I'm back at BlizzCon, because every time I'm at BlizzCon with Dills, we always end up at some point discussing how awesome Mitch Hedberg is.
Miss that guy.
Yeah.
Miss that guy.
Hey,
that's a compliment. I look like Mitch Hedberg. I'll take it. I will take it.
Him and Greg Giraldo, man. Comedians I miss so
The
badly.
roasts aren't the same. The Justin Bieber roast, if he'd have been there,
yeah,
Giraldo would have killed it.
And with any luck, Bieber would have gone home that night and killed himself. Oh, no, there we go. Garrett getting real blue at the top of the show.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll move past it.
Normally, I try to disguise my opinions, not keep them so harsh. But man, Bieber, just suck an egg, man. Please.
I enjoyed it, except for the end where he went up there and did his thing. I was like, normally, like I kind of appreciate it. I was like, all right, I'm done. I wanted to just see the other people's stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, anyway.
So wait, you're not in your normal abode. Right
No,
now.
I'm
You're
not.
abodeless.
I'm not abodeless. I have an abode, just not my normal.
You're now
abode.
a homeless man. If nobody knows.
No, I'm in Pennsylvania, man, which I've never been to before. I'm calling live from Penn State University, man.
You on campus right now?
I am on campus right now. Yes.
What's going on in the quad? Have you checked it out recently, or
you're
gonna go streaking through the quad into the gymnasium?
I couldn't tell you where the quad is because this campus is one of the most obscenely large structures I have ever been in.
I hear it's nice.
I don't understand how large. Like, folks, I went to like a private art college. We had like 5 buildings. I can see 5 buildings out the window and then 10 more. This is just ridiculous. It's huge.
So Penn State, where geographically within Pennsylvania is that?
Well, the city it's in is called State College, and I'm not sure how much that is helping you.
Okay. It's in University Park. Wait, University State College? That's the name of the town?
I believe.
What?
I believe so. Oh, I'm gonna just phone a friend. Robert, where geographically is Penn State located?
How close to Philly?
How close to Philly? 3 hours away from Philly.
3 hours. Okay.
According to Professor Macy, it is smack dab in the middle of the Pennsylvania rectangle.
Okay, sure. I'm totally familiar with that Pennsylvania rectangle.
Yeah. No, it's been a lot of fun so far. I woke up this morning and went and talked to a class and tried really hard not to look nervous. That was fun. I had good. The students were amazing. Asked really surprisingly good questions.
Were your palms sweaty?
No, not too bad.
Spaghetti?
Not too bad.
Okay.
Made the mistake of wearing a stereotypical professorial tweed jacket, and by the end of it, I was just sweating bullets.
Did you have patches on the elbows?
It does. It's it's somewhere in here.
You really went for it then.
Well, it just happens to be like the one sports coat I own. But yeah, but it was
probably explain that there is going to be a blank hole here for the viewing audience that is Jocelyn, but she's not here.
Yes, since I am on the go this week, everyone. I don't have my normal suite of Photoshop things. We did actually manage to get it installed, but then I didn't have the right files on my Dropbox.
Sure.
So it's been fun. If you're watching the video show, you're probably like, why is there a Jocelyn?
Everyone's going to keep commenting on that.
Why is the
join us in the chat room?
Why is the bullet list being sarcastic? It's like, listen, folks. I spent literally all day yesterday on planes and waiting in Chicago airport, which has the worst internet on the face of the planet, and I didn't have a good enough signal on my phone to make up for the worst internet in the planet. So
couldn't play Hearthstone on that internet, huh?
Couldn't happen.
That's sad. That's really sad.
Lost 3 games in a row to that damn internet.
Oh no!
Damn you! That was the point I gave up.
Decked by the internet.
Yeah,
huh?
I gave up and went and found a bar. That's what you do, you know?
That is the correct way to deal with that situation.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind week. I spent a lot of this morning getting this set up, making sure it working that I could actually stream from here. It's been great. Big thanks to Professor Robert Macy for letting me use his office and bringing all this podcasting equipment out. It's been great. So
I'm glad it went well, man. That's
yeah,
really cool.
Yeah. I of course have to ask you, and I guess myself, since Jocelyn isn't here, how did the second wing of Molten Core go for you? Molten Core, Blackrock Mountain, which is
it is Molten Core, but it's the second wing of Blackrock Mountain.
Mountain,
yes. It was easy. I guess actually though the third boss, I think I did die once because the third boss is Ragnaros, but it's Major Domo, and then once it dies, it becomes Ragnaros, and I just kind of went in there and just played whatever deck. I didn't even think about it because I just went like, this is how I've been doing it. It's like, I'm just not going to look it up. I'm just going to go in and play.
Well, yeah.
And then if I need to change the deck, I'll change the deck or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
my first time through, what I try to do is I only go off of in-game information, what's available in-game. So I'll read the hero power.
Yeah, that's all you know.
Yeah, and so you get to Ragnaros. It doesn't say shit about Major Domo. All it says is hero power.
Nothing about Major Domo.
Yeah.
I was like,
it just
what?
says Ragnaros and it says hero power, 8 damage to a random minion. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna put in. I made a Divine Shield deck. I made a Paladin.
I made a token Druid deck. I was like, lots of dudes.
Yeah,
right? There you go.
And I wanted a lot of guys that took at least 2 hits to kill, regardless of 8 damage or not. And get in there, and then I'm faced with 30 health Major Dome, and I'm like, wait a minute, Blizzard.
Yeah, and his hero power is summon a 1/3, right? So it's just totally different.
Absolutely.
But he also plays, I think there's 4 Molten Giants in his deck.
Yeah.
So the tip is for anybody who, spoiler alert, if you care about this and you want to just go in and beat it right away, just play Paladin, put double Big Game Hunter, and put follows the rules and humility in there, and then good to go.
See, I did Grim Patrons because it seems like every single one of these bosses Grim Patron is just good against.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, when Grim Patron takes 8 damage off of Ragnaros, but once you're at Ragnaros, it like kind of doesn't matter. Like he has 16 health or whatever, you just finish him off at that point.
And I ended up going with I think a priest deck, and I just waited until I could do 26 damage in one turn. So
people in chat are saying he has 10 Moltens.
Yeah, I was about to correct you on that, and then I got sidetracked.
I've never seen more than 4. I've only done the fight twice. So
I saw, I want to say 6 my first time, and I just sat there going, "Oh, f this."
So yeah, follows the rules. You want to do that, and you want to play Big Game Hunters. That'll pretty much do it. It'll make the fight really easy. Yeah. I'm not doing any of the heroic stuff because I just rather go back and do it all in one shot if I want to do it. And I actually went back and I finished Heroic Nax because I'd never finished Heroic Nax. So now I finally have that card back. But I just, at some point, like what I was doing with Nax was I was doing regular and then immediately doing Heroic on that wing. And I was just spending time on that and not spending time just playing with the new cards, right?
Yeah.
So this time around, I just want to get the new cards and just get right into playing ranked games and trying out new decks and doing whatever. And then at some point, if I feel like I want to do Heroic, I'll make that a goal and I'll just get in there and do that. That'll be like my goal for that time. But I felt like I just wasted time spending it on that with Nax. And I went back and finished. It was actually fairly difficult, I'd say, though, even with the new cards. The final fight, KT, you really have to get lucky. You have to get like a really heavy healing paladin deck and then get lucky because his hero power is 8 mana, steal a random minion. And you're pumping out 1/1s, but if he steals your sludge belcher or something, like you're kind of screwed. If he steals your 1/1, you win. But
yeah.
Anyway, so I went back and did that, and I'm pretty happy like that I finally did it, got the card back, all done. And then we'll just wait until this is over. All of the cards are out and everything, and I'm kind of sick of playing. And one day when I'm just bored, I'll go back and do a Heroic.
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked. I'm pretty sure I mentioned back when Nax was coming out that for whatever reason, and I still can't really explain it, the Heroic mode just hasn't really appealed to me.
It is a challenge, though. I encourage you, if it doesn't appeal to you, try going back and just try it out, because it's a problem-solving exercise essentially. And to me, that is intriguing. It's not. I would never want to like go back and do it again. Like that, I did it. I'm done. You'll never see me log into Nax ever again, unless somebody specifically asked me to show them how to do it or something. That's it. Done with it. Go through, beat the bosses once. It's not like WoW where you go back and grind the bosses and farm them for whatever. But I think it is. I think it's a valuable thing and it's fun. But it's just a problem-solving exercise, essentially.
Yeah. That being said, I do really like replaying Portal. But yeah,
Really?
I don't think I'd like replaying Heroic next or Blackrock Mountain for that matter. I'm not sure. I just, for whatever reason, been turned off of it. I was actually I was stalking Tom Merritt the other day, watching him, spectating a few of his games, and we started talking. I came to the realization I think at some point I'll play the heroic modes, and it'll be probably when I'm sick. It seems like a good like sick, can't get up, don't want to deal with other human beings.
It's fun though to like go in there, try going in there and don't net deck it and just try to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
And just go, okay, so that's what he has. Like I would say like the most you should do is go to Hearthhead and because Hearthhead actually posts what their deck is. So you can actually go and look at what the boss's deck actually is and then try to counter that. But I think the fun in it is using your own brain to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And I was like kind of frustrated with KT and I started a net deck and all I saw was people were playing Paladin. I was like, okay, cool, I'll play Paladin. And that was as far as I went, and I figured it out on my own. That made me feel good. Like, okay, I figured out the deck, and I got this to work. And
yeah.
That I think was a cool achievement, and I like that about this. Like, you don't get that in other card games, really. Just kind of PvE experience.
Yeah,
it's hard
no,
to
I mean,
replicate. You know?
yeah, because they're all pretty much just solely PvP. That's definitely what's going on with Magic, and I think that's part of the reason I'm like less interested in it because I still have that mindset. It's like, no, I just want the new cards. I just want to go play people.
Sure. Yeah.
Just...
By the way, Magic Tangent incoming.
Okay, everyone, get your one-star reviews ready.
Sorry, tune out.
Get them
now,
ready.
Everybody.
Magic and
so
time.
they have the pre-made decks for like each thing with the new Dragons of Tarkir.
Mm-hmm.
And someone was selling the entire thing, which is 5 pre-made decks. Each one comes with 2 packs as well as a 60-card pre-built deck.
Yep.
And the whole thing was like $50. And I was like, okay. So I bought it, and it was the funnest thing opening that thing up. It's like all pre-built decks. It comes with 1 foil, like rare, for each one, and it's cool decks, man. They're actually like I kind of see. It gives you an idea of what the set might entail and what kind of possibilities they want you to kind of do. And I think Blizzard would do something really cool. Like, okay, so now tie it back in. How cool would it be if in Hearthstone you could maybe buy a pre-built deck or see some pre-built decks and then plug in the card? Like if you're missing some cards or something like that, you can like see what cards you're missing and then try to open packs to get them, but have some sort of way to introduce new players to what a good deck might look like, right?
Yeah,
like a super basic zoo deck.
When it was first introduced, this was one of the things that immediately popped in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, we'll totally have these theme decks or something for sale in the store. I can't believe it still has not come.
I think it's such a good, like when I was opening these, and I would consider myself a Magic noob, 100%, right? But opening these decks up and looking at the cards and kind of seeing, this deck is going for this particular interaction, was kind of eye-opening because when I build a deck in Magic right now, it's kind of just based on what cards I have, what I think might work well together, but it's hard. It's really difficult, and especially because you don't have, a clickable interface that shows me I'm actually, sorting through cards with my hands, and it's kind of tough to go, okay, wait, I think I had a card that had that as well. Let me go back, and then I got to like rifle through all my cards again. So it's kind of tough to do.
Yeah.
But this kind of just put it all into perspective. Like, oh, these cards all have what is the thing that they have? It's not flash, but it's something where they go back in your hand after you play them. You know what I'm talking about? Like you can play it for that cost, and then it has haste, but then at the end of the turn it goes back in your hand.
Yeah, I cannot remember. I've not played enough of Tarkir to.
Anyway, I was looking at this, and I'm like, okay, so this is a deck that wants to play a lot of cards and then put them right back into my hand. And I was like, why would that be good? And then later I realized it had a card that was like, every time you play a minion onto the board, this good effect happens, right? So essentially like continuously putting cards, thank you, chat room.
There we go.
Essentially putting cards onto the board is good for you. So being able to put them back in your hand and put them on the board again the next turn is actually better than just playing them out and leaving them there, right?
Well,
because it's a cheaper cost.
This is like how we weren't sure how Gang Up was going to be good.
Sure.
And it's like, well, no, because you technically get to play way more cards than you initially could. And that's even a thing in Magic where you have a larger deck size. But it's actually a lot of it's taken up by land if we want to start getting technical.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like it's an interesting way to kind of teach a newer player what they should and should not be doing when they're trying to build a deck, right? Like I could go and I could net deck, but I won't have any of the cards. I'll spend like $300 on Magic cards trying to build one single viable meta deck, right?
Yeah.
Or I could look at this and I could go, oh, cool, this is a cool idea. Now let me just sub in some cards I think might be better. And you could do the same thing with Hearthstone. It'd be really awesome. I really hope that that's where they go at some point.
Yeah, no, me too. And chat room's also talking about that this is kind of the same reason they want a deck export feature. I'd like to see something like that as well.
Totally.
You know, also import, obviously, kind of pointless if you can't re-import it, but
yeah, you can do this with some of the third-party stuff, right? So Deck Tracker allows you to import from like Hearthhead and Hearthpwn and all that kind of stuff, but then you still have to build it in the game client. So
yeah, absolutely. It's not quite as again, it's kind of gets to be real specific, kind of nichey.
We're nitpicking a little bit, but
pick those
but
nits, Dills.
Cool.
Pick those nits. That'll actually be the name of the next segment for the show.
Dills and Garrett nitpick our stuff.
Pick the nits.
Yeah. But like, why is it every time I go to my collection? Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it just struck me as like a really cool feature we could have. And I know coding and things have to happen, but as we say on the show, for us, all we just get to pontificate on what would be cool and just say, you should do it.
That's our job. It'd be really lame if we sat here and we're just like, well, it's probably not realistic for these reasons, which I realize is actually most of the time what I do on this show. And I just realize I'm really lame and I feel bad about myself.
Nah, you're not lame.
So, all right, man. Well, let's talk about this week's Hearthstone news, shall we?
Let's do it.
Good news, everyone.
Oh, yes, because we have some Datamine patch notes this week via Wowhead, which I guess Hearthhead.com would probably have this as well.
When you just said, oh, yes, I just realized the next bumper for news should definitely have an oh, yes at the end instead of an oh, no.
Just to mess with it.
Yeah, just putting that away in the lockbox for now.
That said, I know we want to change up the bumpers, but I don't know about you, man, but there are parts of these bumpers that have like really become ingrained in my head. Like I love the no at the end.
Yeah,
like I don't know if I can move on with that.
A full overhaul might not be in order, but just a tweaking, just a slight tweaking, and subtle improvements. Yeah, I think that's where we want to go.
Something about that oh no at the end though. I think I'd be really depressed if it was gone.
But see how much of a little Easter egg would it be if it says like, oh yes, like at the end instead.
I guess the problem
would be a card that says that, right?
I guess the problem would be we would have to find a card sound effect that actually did that.
Within the framework of what we're working with, we'll find a way to do something. I've actually got a bunch of stuff loaded, so like that work is imminent, but it's just a thought that like that's been happening to me a lot as I've been doing this is like, oh, it should do that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thought just came to me. It's happening.
So, anyway, in these Datamine patch notes, is looking like we're going to get a new achievement for winning 5 practice games, which will reward us a classic card pack.
Yeah, so a bunch of Datamine stuff came out, and one of the first things that people noticed was this achievement quest change where it says win 5 practice games, get a classic pack. So this is cool for new players, but I'm skeptical that this is not something that I feel like this is probably something that just gets done once. I think this is just another way to reward players a free pack. I'm not sure that this is like a quest.
Oh, I'm sure it's one. Well, yeah.
I mean, it could be, but then you're forcing players later on to go play practice. Do I want to go play practice?
I can't imagine that is a thing. Yeah, it has to be an achievement because that would
practice. We're talking practice.
That would just drive me up a wall because I'd want the pack. That's 100 gold. That's a great quest.
So here's the thing that happened with the Observe a Friend quest the other day.
Which I still have not.
EU account.
Which I still have not gotten, by the way.
You haven't gotten it? Okay.
No.
So I was playing on my EU account and that quest popped up and I was like, I have no friends on my EU account. This is terrible. So I threw the quest out. But what sucked is I was like, that account could really use an old school pack.
Yeah.
Because all I'm doing is arena and getting GVG packs. So this was like a fantastic opportunity to get a new pack. I don't have a friend on EU. I'm sure I could get one. I'm sure I could go on Twitter.
Even if you weren't you being Dills with a large following on Twitter
I have the
of Hearthstone
advantage
fans.
of doing a Hearthstone podcast.
But I feel like
has that.
I feel like if you weren't that though, you could just go to like the subreddit. You could go to our Hearthstone and find somebody to friend you.
There's a way to do it. Obviously, I can go play some games and try to friend every opponent until one of them accepts me. And say, hey, I'm not trying to talk shit because you're a face hunter. I just want to be your friend. Can I watch your next game, please?
Right. Somebody
you
at some
do
point.
That. There's a way.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like, do I care enough there, or do I just want to like try to get a paladin or mage or whatever and just go play?
Yeah.
So I ended up taking the easy way out, and I just clicked X and went on to the next thing. So I just wonder how many people are doing that. How many people get discouraged and like, I have no friends.
You missed out on a Pac-Man. That's 100. I just said you missed out on a Pac-Man. To follow.
I never missed out on Pac-Man. I was born in the '80s, Garrett. I was there.
First of all, Junior Pac-Man was better, and I was born in the '80s too, Mister.
Wait a minute, hold on. Junior Pac-Man is
better?
Windows Miss Pac-Man is the greatest.
Junior Pac-Man moved faster.
Okay.
It was more fast-paced.
So did Miss Pac-Man, actually.
Yeah, you're actually you
have you seen Google Pac-Man though?
I have.
Google Maps Pac-Man.
You're damn right I've seen Google Pac-Man.
It's pretty epic. Although I played it like once and I was like, all right, I get it. I never did it again.
Oh, that's great. Also, data mind, obviously the new card back. We've seen the Cupcake card back before. We knew this was coming. But that said, very excited for this. That looks like a delicious cupcake. I want to lick that frosting.
It's not bad. It's very like I don't think this card back is for everyone, but I think there's a lot of players out there who are going to really dig this card back.
I'm excited.
It's very nice. It's pleasant.
I'm excited to see how it's animated, which is always the case with the card backs.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming like the confetti on it probably moves around.
It's got
or
like
something.
a party atmosphere going on for sure.
Yeah, but like festive child's party, not like a rager type situation.
Not Penn State college party, bro.
Yeah, a couple gnomes come in with a beer funnel, and it's a good time.
You're going to like a college party tonight, right? You're gonna go to a rager?
No, I'm going the hell to sleep after this.
What? You're not gonna go? Come on, man.
I'm not sure that's on my itinerary. I'm not sure I'd get invited back.
To a rager, some sort of kappa rager.
I'm glad. There's the joke I can make there, and I'm not gonna make it. You're a terrible person, Dills. You're such a bad person.
Take some Molly. See what happens. Relive your youth, man.
My youth wasn't that interesting. It wouldn't be reliving it. That would be a new experience.
All right.
I mean, I know you're very close to Oakland, Dills, and you probably had plenty of young experiences, but
my youth ain't over, buddy. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to the college rager. Let's do this.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. You killed me, dude. I don't know how to segue out of this.
Talk about the iPhone.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. There's a lot of strings in these patch notes that allude to the mobile build of Hearthstone, which makes us all believe that Hearthstone is coming to the phone much sooner rather than later. And I got to say, man, I'm kind of afraid. I'm going to get a lot less stuff done when I can literally play Hearthstone at any moment I have a connection to my wireless carrier.
I think that I won't have a problem with this. I think that this is going to be all positive for me. There's only a couple of times in my life right now where I think I want to play Hearthstone right now, and I don't have the opportunity to. And that's like when I go to pool nights because they don't have internet I can get. It's like I couldn't even bring an iPad anyway, but now my iPhone I'll be able to do it on my data. That's the thing I'm worried about is when I do play, how much data is this going to use, right? Like, am I going to go over? Because I don't have the luxury of being grandfathered into some unlimited data plan.
Yeah, that's the same thing, too. Yesterday I was complaining about Chicago O'Hare's airport internet. Everyone's like, well, just run it off your hotspot on your phone. It's like, I don't have unlimited data.
$20 extra. Like,
do you have any idea? Like, yeah, no, it's not a thing. Also, my cellular connection in there was terrible. So it was just a no-fly zone for Hearthstone. Oh,
it's gonna be. I'll tell you this: you're gonna have to pick and choose the moments you can actually do it. Because let's say you're playing a ranked game or you're playing an arena game, and your connection gets a little wonky. You go through a tunnel or something, and you lose the game. That's gonna be super frustrating. So I don't see myself just playing all the time. And also the times when I just pull my phone out and just kind of whatever, I just like scroll Twitter and then I put it back in my pocket. I'm not like a big phone in my hand guy. Like a lot of people are. A lot of my friends are just like phone constantly in their hand, constantly doing whatever in the phone. And this might make me do that more just to play some Hearthstone games, but not. I don't know. My phone's in my pocket. Like I get to the end of the day and my phone's at like 85% battery. And like other people are trying to get to a charger. Like I scrolled Twitter a few times. That's all I did. And
I'm not too dissimilar. I mean, I do check it a lot, but I'm on it for 30 seconds.
Moments, right? Yeah,
it's like
just here and there.
Check the email. It's a Google alert for Hearthstone, and currently it's nothing but expansions coming out, so I know what the Google alert is for. Okay, delete, done.
However, I'm excited to have the option to do it when that need arises, right?
Yeah.
So getting on a plane, got a little time to kill before the plane takes off. Normally you'd have your iPad and you'd be like, oh, I pay $15 for the in-flight Wi-Fi. Nah. But now I'll be like, oh, I could play one game of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Face Hunter.
And if you're that worried,
Face Hunter will take a few minutes.
You. Folks, I would really like to start a rebellion against Dill's how much he's really pimping Face Hunter, because I'm seeing more and more of it instead of less and less. And Dills, I blame you. I blame you,
I feel
sir.
like it's dying out.
Every time I try to make a new Shaman deck, do you know what I play the next 3 games in a row?
What's that?
Face Hunter. And you know what just straight up loses the Face Hunter? Shaman decks.
Well, there's a Shaman deck later on the show that might not, although I tried it out, and I don't know if it does. I don't know. I'm not sold on this.
It's so frustrating. I was so excited about Shaman this week, and I just haven't found anything that consistently
We haven't
works
got the
enough.
new card, though. We got Lava Shock, but we didn't get the other one. So we have half of the new Shaman cards.
Yeah, but that Shaman or Lava Shock was the one I was the most excited for. It seemed
but the other one fits into a Lava Shock Shaman deck, right?
Yeah. No, you're very right. And in the Shaman class challenge, you get to play around with that elemental card.
Yeah, and it's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And then
value.
Then you get out and you're like, oh wait, I don't actually have it in my library. I actually searched my library. I was like, where is it? I thought I had it. I don't have it.
Yeah. And chat room's getting in here with all their Shaman suggestions. I really like Control Shaman, guys. It was like my first love, and it doesn't cut it right now. Not for regular ranked play, anyway.
I think there was a lot of Face Hunter because there was a lot of Druid, and now Druid's starting to go away a little bit, and so now Face Hunter is starting to also go away, because once Druid goes away, that means Control Warrior gets to come back, because Control Warrior sucks against Druid.
Yep.
And so that means Control Warrior comes back, Hunter goes away. So I think you'll see in the next few days, Hunter will be going away for a while. We'll probably see some mid-range Hunter coming back, but right now it seems like everyone's trying to do like Paladin. I'm seeing a lot of Paladin again. I'm seeing a lot of this new Shaman that we're going to talk about. I'm seeing a lot of Mage. Like Mage is everywhere right now. There's 3 different kinds of Mage. You got Freeze Mage, Tempo Mage, and Mech Mage.
Yep.
And it's just, I feel like half my games are against Mage now.
I've seen a surprising amount of Mech Mage. I could have sworn that just went away, but
no, but the last tournaments, people are still playing it in the tournaments, and the tournaments kind of, I think they really help define the meta. Actually, this is a good question to ask before we move on to the next thing. But
sure thing.
What do you think that the phone version of Hearthstone will do to the meta? Do you think that will affect the meta because people will need to play faster decks because they don't have time to play a full game?
Oh man, I can't imagine, and this is my gut reaction, I can't imagine it's going to have that big of an effect. Because if I feel like it's a small effect at best. If you're really into Hearthstone, you're already playing, and chances are you're playing on what's already available. I don't think you're going to sacrifice the playstyle that you prefer just to benefit the phone.
Well, what I'm saying though is like you'll play a deck when you know you have a limited amount of time because you're on your phone. Yeah. You're more likely to choose an aggro deck. Like let's say you're a guy who has several decks to choose from. I could play Control, but am I really going to open up Resident Sleeper Control Warrior when I'm like standing in line at the supermarket? No. Like that's not an option.
I'm not sure I'd even play Face Hunter standing in line for the supermarket.
No, but that's an
how slow are your clerks, man? I feel bad for you.
Extreme example. If you've clearly never been to the Safeway by my house, but I'm just saying that's an extreme example. But I feel like when people are trying to play a Hearthstone on their phone, they're going to tend to go for like aggro decks because they get the game done faster. So you might see a minuscule rise in aggro, which I think a minuscule rise will then also affect the rest of the meta. Like it just works that way, right? So like a small amount of increase in that might mean more of an anti-aggro thing where we just start to see like less mid-range and more control versus aggro like bashing against each other. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Couldn't an argument be made though, just for that there are a lot of people who like Hearthstone that don't have a tablet and will just play it on their phone as if they had a tablet. They won't play it
sitting at their house playing.
They won't play it when they're strapped for time. They're just going to play the game when they have time to play the game, and it won't actually make that big of a difference.
I definitely see that will happen, but I also think there's definitely going to be an uptick in people playing on a limited amount of time because they're playing on the go.
Fair enough.
So those people, just because there's an uptick in that, those people will tend to play aggro more often. We're going to see more aggro in the meta, and then more counter aggro in the meta, and then maybe a little bit less mid-range.
You heard it here first, folks. Dills is likening aggro players to those who enjoy Candy Crush.
Every single time I see someone playing aggro, I'm going to be like, this guy on his phone, really? Face hunter again? Put your phone down, man. Get back to the real world. Yeah,
go play Candy Crush if you're that strapped for time. Go play crappy game.
Yeah, go. What was the Clash of Clans? Why are you not playing Clash of Clans?
Don't you play that?
I used to.
Gotcha.
I give up on almost every iOS game at some point.
Yeah, me too. The only one I've stuck to is I guess technically FTL is one now that is on the iPad.
Yeah,
but that's
my lot in life, though.
Yeah,
they come and they go.
Well, let's talk about SeatStory Cup 3 because I had to live vicariously through the internet.
You didn't get to watch any of this, did you?
No.
Oh,
and I was so sad.
You missed the greatest tournament of all time.
I'm not even kidding you. Again, like I do when I can't see things, I'm like refreshing Wikipedia, reading it like the sports page, watching the bracket fill itself out. And I'm looking at Twitter. And shout out to Callum, our buddy Callum, who writes over at daily.esports, because, man.
Yeah, just follow him.
If you're not
up to date.
Yeah, like it's like if you really want to stay up to date and you can't watch the stream, just read Callum's Twitter. He's got that thing on lockdown, and the factoids that he pulls out, it's like the ticker at the bottom of ESPN. I love it.
He's what? C Leslie 92.
Yep.
Yeah, at C Leslie 92. Check him out. Cool guy.
Yeah, Callum Leslie.
Great updates. He writes good articles too. So.
And he has an amazing Scottish accent.
He really does. Well, he just has a Scottish accent. But Scottish accents are amazing.
Yeah, that's here. Us here in the U.S., we get very excited about accents. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we think the way your voice sounds is awesome, and we were jealous. At least I am.
So let me just like break down to you why this might have been the greatest Hearthstone tournament we've ever seen. BlizzCon aside.
Okay.
BlizzCon was amazing.
Pause, because I didn't see it, and you want to make me feel bad.
Yeah. Mostly. But no, you should just go back and watch VODs of this. I mean, I think it's worth it. I think it's that it was that good.
Okay.
Not only did they have 32 top-notch players, like a lot of invites, but they also had 3 qualifiers, and the 3 qualifiers all had really good showings, and were really good players in their own right. And in fact, one of the qualifiers got second place, and the guy who won the whole damn thing was like a qualifier in tournaments a month ago. So he was essentially like a guy who qualified for this tournament by qualifying for another tournament and winning it.
Yo, dog, I heard you like qualifying.
Yeah. So not only that, but the atmosphere there was incredibly casual and fun. They had Kriparian, they had Artosis, and they had Frodan. Well, Frodan was a player, but he spent most of his time casting because Frodan's a caster, not a player. He was eliminated very early.
That makes me so sad, but I also kind of expected it.
But so the thing was the atmosphere was incredibly casual and fun and lighthearted. All the players and all the casters and all the people were having a great time. They kept cutting away to weird things. At one point, they were like, by the way, spoiler alert, if you want to watch the VODs, you probably shouldn't listen to this segment of the podcast. Skip forward a few minutes.
Again, it was a live event.
Exactly.
It's like saying, spoiler alert, this is who won the Super Bowl. By the way, it's on the front page of literally anything that was printed on paper today.
If you're listening to this podcast, are you really worried about spoiling stuff?
Yeah.
So anyway, but they cut away at one point to, the meme where it's like the guy talking in Spanish and he can't stop laughing because it's like
Yep.
this funny joke.
Yep.
And so they cut away to that, and they were like, SeatStory Cup, they wanted it to be a serious tournament. You know, Reddit kept bitching about how this tournament wasn't serious enough. And then we went and made it Mexican themed. Oh my God, can you believe that? For no reason, we made it Mexican themed. And then they come back and everyone's wearing fake mustaches. They have sombreros. They're like fake mariachi bands. That was just kind of the feel of the whole thing, was we don't give a crap.
Oh.
We're just here to have fun. Although we're also giving away $20,000. And it's just going to be a good time for the people watching and the people participating. And that was the feeling the entire way through. When Orange wins, by the way, Orange wins, they played My Heart Will Go On terrible recorder version as he's standing up to like accept his trophy.
See, that's the
just
thing.
having
Like, you
fun.
can either, and I'm going to pull out my old man StarCraft fan card and be like, this all started with Home Story Cup, and it was the same vibe, and it was freaking amazing then, and it's freaking amazing now. Which, funny, because it's like, what, 2 years ago, I think? 3 years ago, this may have started up. It's funny, because, like, with esports, or any of these kind of things, it's like, a lot of the tournaments, you try so hard, the production value, you try so hard to make this look like WrestleMania or a major sporting event. And you can either do that and put a lot of effort into the production and really try hard and try to make it as crisp and as clean and as professional as you can. Or you can go the SeatStory Cup route and you can just embrace the internet for what it is.
Sure.
Which
No,
is
I mean,
this
they
boiling
they
cesspool
know
of
that it's on
randomness.
Twitch. Yeah. This is on Twitch, man. There's people spamming kappas the entire time and
Well,
dongers and whatever. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Do we really need to pretend like it's not what it is? And the fact, though, is even while they did that, the production values were insanely high the entire time. You don't have to pick and choose. You can actually do both. You can have fun and be esports at the same time. There was all kinds of fun moments. There was a Maz getting a birthday cake at the poker table because they're all playing poker. Everybody's like eliminated, just played poker the whole time. A Maz gets a Kappa birthday cake brought to him. Everyone sings happy birthday. Pan over to Reynad, not singing happy birthday at all. It was so good.
Oh, man. Do you think that was planned?
No, it wasn't planned.
Or do you think everything...
He doesn't sing.
Do you just think everything we know and hear about Reynad is 100% true?
He also went out, though, and got blindfolded and tried to beat up a piñata at one point. So, I mean, he's fine. He's fine. The saltiness aside, he's fine. He participated. He had a good time, I'm sure, too. But it was funny to see all these guys. Forsen, who's known as the guy who hates role players, dressed up in a friggin' costume and was like a mariachi guy playing trumpet during that one part. And, like, you know, it's like they all just kind of got out of their element and just had a good time. So the whole thing was amazing. And I recommend anybody go back and watch it. Because, oh yeah, and the piñata was full of salt, by the way. Esconde, thank you very much. So he hits the piñata, breaks it, salt comes out of it. It's amazing. The whole thing was just so good.
God, I missed a really good tournament.
So I spent all day one of these days. I was actually pretty busy over the weekend, but I made sure every time I was at home that my TV was just set to take TV because it was amazing. It was so good. And I hope this sets a bar for all these other tournaments to embrace the silliness of what this is. These are a bunch of kids playing a video game and getting paid money to do it. And it's crazy and it's fun and it should be enjoyable. These guys should all look back on this time and say, that was the time of my life when I was an esports hero playing Hearthstone, top decking and wrecking, you know, Ragnaros hitting face and I win the game, that kind of stuff. It was just really cool to see. So everyone who didn't watch it, the VODs are there. Go check it out. I'm sure they'll put like YouTube stuff up too, but it was cool.
This makes me just want to like mic and camera all of our weird in between antics at like Nerdtacular and BlizzCon.
Yeah, that stuff like once people know these players, that when they're watching them just chill. I mean, everyone was like bitching and the only thing people bitched about was why is there no poker stream? I want to watch the poker stream. I mean, that was really the big complaint of the whole thing.
I mean, that's a good sign when the folks are like, well, why isn't there more weird side content that has nothing to do with the game at hand? We would love to see. That's a good sign. That's a great sign. So yeah,
just big ups to SeatStory Cup and Need for Seat and Take TV and all those guys. Very, very cool stuff that they were doing. And I really appreciated it, and I had a good time watching it.
Well, that's great. Well, you've convinced me, sir. I will definitely make it a point to go back and watch some of these VODs. And I'm sure
by the way, the finals went to the last game. And it was insane. And it was so close and so tense. So it was actually not only the funnest tournament, but one of the best finals you'll ever see. Orange beat Ostkaka. Ostkaka is his name. He was a qualifier. Went from the qualifying all the way to the finals. And he took home like $5,000 or something for getting second place. And he was up 4-3 and lost 5-4 to Orange. And Orange is a guy who's like a brand new guy to the whole scene anyway. And so just the whole thing, perfect from front to back. Amazing stuff.
Awesome. Well, great, man. Well, let's just get into the discussion of this weird shaman deck that I haven't had a chance to play, shall we?
It is very hard.
You wanna blow something up? Time to pay.
So there was a Fel Reaver Mech Shaman. I'm not even gonna like feign like I know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
What?
So okay. The reason why I put this deck in here, and I played it just now before we started, and I'm not necessarily impressed with this deck. I think this deck is very meta dependent. I think it's a good deck. I think it's a really good deck. I think people get too hung up on what Fel Reaver's downside is, right? So if you read Brian Kibler's article on Fel Reaver and why Fel Reaver is actually a good card, minus the fact that it dies to Big Game Hunter, then you can see why this card works in this deck. Because this particular deck, it is your win condition because you could get it out so early and it's one of many threats. That's kind of the point here. So it's a Mech Shaman that features Fel Reaver, features no card draw, and essentially just says, I get Fel Reaver out, and then I probably can play Fire Elemental on the next turn and probably play Dr. Boom on the next turn. So why the hell do I care if every time you play something I lose 3 cards? I don't care. I have no card draw in my deck anyway. I'm not going to run out of cards before I kill you.
Yeah,
right?
So you're banking on the fact that you have an aggressive curve. I mean, 9 2-drops in this curve.
Yeah. So the whole point is to play, like, you wrote an article about the Mech Shaman deck, right?
Yeah, the original one that Firebad and Purple Drank developed.
But you have that opener in this deck.
Yeah.
What that deck does is in this deck.
Yeah, it's a traditional Mech Shaman with an end game.
Yes. So the whole point here is mulligan for the fast opener, and then once you get the fast opener, then the cards you'll draw won't all be 1s and 2s after that, because you have enough 4, 5, 6s, and 7s, and even an 8 in Ragnaros that you can actually curve out and always have like a big threat to play on every turn. And the downside of Fel Reaver, that you discard 3 cards every single time they play a card, is not actually that bad as long as they don't kill it. The real downside is if they kill it. If they don't kill it and they make you lose cards, it doesn't matter because you're still hitting them in the face for 8 every turn, right? And then you just kill them and you crackle face and whatever. I actually changed the deck a little bit because I took out 1 Fel Reaver and put in 1 extra Earthshock because what I realized that the weakness of the deck was someone playing
Eldor
Sludge
Peacekeeper.
Belcher.
Oh, I was going to say Eldor Peacekeeper.
No. Well, yeah, that's a huge weakness.
Yeah.
So,
You turn into a 1/8 that burns 3 cards every time they...
No, I lost the only game I played against Paladin because I think that's just a bad matchup. But every deck's going to have a bad matchup. But apparently, like, Frodan was like in the top 10 of Legend with this deck. A few people hit rank 1 Legend with this deck. 6-0 and Zalay were both playing it at SeatStory Cup. It's a very powerful deck when it gets the opener and kind of draws well. It's like unstoppable when it does that. I don't think that this deck is like a meta breaking deck though, but it's a very powerful deck, and people put too much into the downside of Fel Reaver, and that the Brian Kibler article is really cool because he says no, the real downside of Fel Reaver is it dies to Big Game Hunter. That's the real downside.
Yeah.
The 3 card thing is cake. Like that's no big deal.
Yeah. With the exception of the Eldor Peacekeeper scenario, you're either hitting them in the face for 8 or the thing died anyway and you don't deal with its downside.
Yeah. So I put in 1 extra Earthshock and took out one Fel Reaver because I also realized that having 2 Fel Reavers in your hand was actually pretty bad You can't play 2 Fell Reavers on the board because then it's 6 cards a turn or 6 cards a card, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
3 cards is doable. You can deal with that. 6 is just way too much. And a guy would play a single Sludge Belcher, and I'd just lose the game because I could never get through it. So double Air Shock, I think, was like what made this deck a little bit better. I'm not convinced yet, but I'm going to play with it more.
Yeah.
But it's I would say if you're struggling to find something that can kind of outpace hunters, that can punish druids, this is the deck that can do it for sure. It's a very powerful deck, but it's just right now I feel like it's a little bit too. It's focused on what it does, and when it doesn't get that draw, there's no plan B in this deck.
I was about to say, it seems like my history with Mech Mage, which I know works. Sure. I know it is an effective deck, but
it's a meta-dependent deck, though. Like, it'll do great in certain metas, and then when the meta adjusts to it, it'll not do so great because it has no plan B. It cannot adjust. It's like, I will play out my whole hand if I can, and then if you wipe my board, I now have no more cards in my hand and no way to draw more cards and no way to do anything, and I just lose.
Yeah.
And this deck works in a very similar way. It's like you just lose if they deal with what you're doing.
That's why I've been playing more Priest than anything lately. Resurrect, super fun, and part of it is because I'm just sick and tired of Face Hunter. So I just outlive them.
Yeah, you'll never lose the Face Hunter if you have a Priest that's kind of tuned for that.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of really good Priest decks in the SeatStory Cup that were really tuned to kind of deal with a lot of things. And I think that there's a lot of power in Priest with Resurrect, but I haven't messed with it enough to know exactly what that build is yet. So, but I think Priest is right on the cusp of being really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this deck is interesting. Try it out. I'm not going to give it like a big 2 thumbs up or anything like that, but when it wins easily. I'll say that. Like it blows people away when it wins.
Out of quick curiosity, without starting a whole new conversation, what is the deck you're playing the most? You still playing Face Hunter?
No. I never played Face Hunter the most. I'm not an anti-Face Hunter guy, but I'm not a guy who like plays a bunch of Face Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I would say right now, well, I'm mostly playing still weird decks, like whatever weird deck I come up with at the time. But I'd say when I'm actually trying, when I'm in try hard mode, it's probably Druid and Control Warrior right now.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a Druid deck I'm enjoying quite a bit, but for whatever reason, I just kind of landed on Priest. Just like it. It's not insanely consistent, but I just have a really good time when I play. And now I have a little dills in my brain that just goes, "You having fun, man? Just keep going. Just keep going if you're having fun." I
really want to play Handlock again, but there was so much Druid and so much Hunter because of Druid that I couldn't do it anymore. But now I think it might be time to get the Handlock going again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's like my favorite deck. Like the decisions you have to make and like tapping when it's so scary to tap. I don't know. There's something about that. There's something like so zen about being like, I'm at 13 life. I'm gonna tap. Like,
is it zen? Because it sounds more like the plot of like a summer blockbuster. Like, Dills is a man who lives on the edge.
I mean, yeah, but it's also, I don't know. There is something kind of like, you know what? If they kill me, they kill me. But I'm gonna tap because that's what I think is the right move right now. Like it is. You have to have heart. But I think Buddhist monks and Zen, like people who follow like Zen mindsets, I think they have a lot of heart, and Handlock fits that. I think you just chill, back, you don't play anything for the first 3 turns, and then you just boom, 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 and then they can't kill you because all the taunts and whatever. I don't know. It's a fun way to play.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of my favorite to play against friends, but for whatever, it's too stressful to play on ladder for me.
The problem is, when you queue into a hunter or like a mage or something like that, you're just like, all right, well, I lose.
Yeah. Something about just queuing game after game with it. Eventually, I'm just like, all right, I'm too wigged out. I can't take this.
We should get Karma on this show one of these days because she's like the queen of the Handlock. That was like her thing. And one night I actually had her coaching me through Handlock games. And that's when I really kind of realized, like, yeah, you got to tap. Because I'd be like, okay, I think the play is la 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 la, and she's like, no, the play is tap. And I'm like, really? Like, yeah, just tap. And then I'd tap, and she'd be like, okay, cool, now we got that card. Okay, now the play is this. It's just a weird way to play because you always tap and then you'd make a decision, and it's just I don't know. Now I really enjoy that. So looking forward to the absence of Hunter, and then the rebirth of my handlock deck.
That's awesome, man. We should totally get Karma on sometime. And we could even like set the strategy section as like a handlock revisited and talk about how it's changed and whatnot. That could be a lot of fun.
She's the expert at handlock, and she's the expert at oil rogue. She's very good at those two decks, and she'd be great to have on the show for sure.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, let's continue on with the crazy game story.
It's the whole world gone crazy.
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
I just realized Skype this whole time is adjusting my volume. I'm watching the waveforms thinking I'm losing my mind. And it's
is it auto volume?
Yeah, because it's on a different computer. And why would Skype, Dills, answer me this, a client-based program, save your settings across logins?
I don't.
Why would you do something so convenient and senseful?
That doesn't make any sense. You should never do that.
No,
ever. No,
absolutely not. Oh man, I wish I'd noticed this earlier because I'm like looking at these. I'm like, what is going on? I'm trying to yell louder into my microphone. It's hilarious.
I actually didn't know that TweetDeck did that until I opened it up on my work computer. I was like, oh, those changes I just made at home are now on my. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
I was like, yeah, this is how all programs should work.
Isn't TweetDeck just a bomb, by the way?
Yeah, TweetDeck's sweet.
That's so great. And then, except for the time you like accidentally retweet on the wrong account.
Yeah.
It's just like,
oh no, I didn't mean to put that picture of my junk on the podcast
yes.
Twitter.
Yes.
That was meant for my own private Twitter.
When you're sending your D pics to that's also probably you're also probably messing up the direct message system there, unless you do that publicly, which I don't know. I follow you, Dills, and I'm pretty sure I haven't seen anything that interesting on your feed. So
it'll never happen.
Anyways, folks, you can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our story today comes to us from listener Mike, who writes, "Hello, enraged 2+8 after a hobgoblin, angry chickens."
Very specific.
You guys are having to dig deep.
That's fine though. I appreciate the effort and the creativity of our fans. It's just amazing.
I'm right there with you, man. It's great. He says, this crazy game story couldn't have gone any better for me. I decided to pick up Grim Patron in Arena for the lulz. This warlock plays an unstable ghoul and a shredder. I put down my patron and kill the ghoul. Boom. 2 patrons. Frostbolt the shredder and the explosive sheep comes out. Wow. I ping it, and now I have 3 patrons. Next turn, he puts down a minion and attempts to shadow flame it. I have the Spellbinder secret up, so instead of killing his own minions, he kills my Spellbender, which does 1 damage to all my minions, making my patrons fill the board. Didn't know it still does shadow flame to my minions, but hey. Oh, Grim Patron, you are so fun. They will not quit, and if I was him, I know all I could do is laugh it off, but I'd be pretty salty myself. Keep it up. Love the show.
Grim Patron's a good card, man. It's just a good card in Arena, and it sounds to me like this guy's playing Mage, first of all, because he said ping. He pinged the explosive sheep, right?
Yep.
But I'm going to have to call bull on something he said here in this letter. He says, kill the ghoul, boom, 2 patrons. Okay. At that point, you have a 3/2 patron and a 3/3 patron, right? Yeah. He kills the shredder, and explosive sheep comes out. He pings said explosive sheep. That would outright kill the 3/2 patron and not kill the 3/3 patron. He would end up with only 2 patrons, a 3/1 and a 3/3. Not 3 patrons, like he says in this email.
Ah.
So I think you miscounted at some point, Mike. If it went down like you say, you miscounted at some point. But I still appreciate the story.
Yeah,
still a good crazy game.
Unless there's a way that I am not aware to bring an explosive sheep's death rattle damage down to 1, which I'm pretty sure that is not the case.
There's no anti sheep damage.
Or he does the thing that I'm pretty sure we have all done on this show, which is misremember one of our games. Say something.
It's misremembered.
And then 2 weeks later, we have like 3 emails in the inbox going, guys, excuse me, this is not how it actually worked.
The real thing, though, here in this story is the spellbender with the Shadow Flame. That's damn sweet.
Yes.
Because he tries to Shadow Flame something. Spellbender, if anybody doesn't know, says, when you target a minion with a spell, it targets the spellbender instead. I never actually seen that interaction because that's super rare. First of all, that I have a spellbender in my hand, and second of all, that I'm playing against a warlock who plays Shadow Flame. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff.
Yep.
Apparently, I'm a detective now. Everybody in the chat's like, "Oh my god, he listened to the story."
We do pay attention.
I was paying attention.
We do pay attention. Sometimes I'm not when I'm reading it. My brain's just like, don't mess up words like you do so often,
shut
Garrett.
Things down and just read. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like just get it out, and then other times not so much. All right. All right, let's round the show out with some emails.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can also send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Dills, you want to take the first one today?
Yeah, let's do it. This comes to us from Calmed Fury, who says, "Hey, Furious Chickens. With more dragons on the way, I'm wondering how you would rank the legendary dragon cards. I am someone who has none of them and wants to craft one." So this person is talking about the current dragons, I'm assuming. And which of the current dragons would be the most effective to craft? Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I would probably say that the best dragon currently is Ysera.
That's exactly who I was going to say.
Yeah, I think Ysera is the best one. If you're talking legendary dragons only, probably the best dragon is Azure Drake. It's probably just the best. Like, you're going to see Azure Drake in more decks than you're going to see Ysera in.
Yep.
Right, but if you're talking of the legendary dragons, it goes Ysera, then probably Alexstrasza.
Can I ban
maybe
Splice Stream in the chat rooms for saying Nose Dormu? Is that allowed?
Those Dormus, like it counters Life Coach though. It's like the direct counter to Life Coach. So if you run into Life Coach all the time on the ladder,
yes, because that's a problem. That is a problem the majority of our listeners have.
Yeah, exactly.
Which isn't to say that I'm not saying that our listeners aren't good enough to come up against Life Coach. I'm saying that it is highly unlikely that you are playing Life Coach enough on ranked play that's
sure
a basis for which to grade this card.
Nosdormu is great though. Nosdormu is a good card to exist because it's just a funny card.
It's a fun story about Nosdormu. He was my first legendary both before and after the wipe. I got a regular one during the beta, and then after the first and only wipe we had, because remember, we thought we were going to get multiple wipes.
Yeah.
I got a golden one, and I shredded that sucker as quickly as I could and rebuilt my Control Shaman deck because I cracked none of the cards I needed.
And then you were able to get all the epics and whatever you wanted, right?
Yeah, I didn't get wolves, I didn't get Manatide Totem, I didn't get a Stormforged axe, I didn't get a Doomhammer. It was,
yeah. So I mean, it's fine. It's good that it exists, and it kind of sets a precedent for this kind of jokey 8/8 for 9 that you can have, and Onyxia kind of fits in there too. And
well, it's it's one of the things if I had a friend who maybe had a vague idea of how magic works.
One day you'll have a friend, Garrett.
Yes, if I had a friend.
I believe.
If I only had a friend. If I had a friend who maybe played some Magic and didn't have a clue about what Hearthstone was, and it's like, well, sir, how is Hearthstone different from a paper game? Nosdormu is actually a good card to kind of show, kind of illustrate some of the absurdity that can happen in this game.
How would that work in Magic? You'd play Nosdormu and you'd be like 5, 4, 3.
No,
like you
no,
just like
you know
start
what?
counting down to the other guy. Like you just throw him down. You say it's your turn. 15, 14.
That would be fun.
13.
And-
you better make a move, bro. 13. 12.
And now imagine tournaments. You call a judge before you play the card. Judge.
Yeah, judge.
And then
Boom,
tap tap
let's
tap tap
go.
tap tap tap. Boom. You have 15 seconds. Go. And then there would be this meta game where when someone calls a judge before they actually make a play, you know that they have no dormant. Oh man, that's just silly.
All right, so Ysera, Alex Straw's second best. Probably Malago's third best. Deathwing fourth best. And then the other ones, Onyxia and Nozdormu, those are kind of jokey, fun ones. Deathwing is a jokey, fun one too. You're not really going to put that in any real deck. When the new ones come out, though, I'm curious to see Chromagus and Nefarian and where they fall.
Yeah,
I tend to think, though, that Ysera will still be the best one, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, 12 health is just absurd. It's so hard to deal with. It only has 4 attack, but 4 attack is still plenty to do damage with, and is not in range of big game hunter. It's not even in range of priest removal.
yeah.
And the dream cards are just absurd.
Yeah, exactly. People are still talking about the crazy game story. Holy crap.
That's the chat room for you, man. The stories live on. Or in this case,
Just somebody says, like, if the patron runs into the 1/3, just let me reiterate. I put down my patron and kill the ghoul. You cannot put down your patron and run it directly into the ghoul. Okay? So
he is
he
on
also
the case.
says, boom, 2 patrons. Boom, 2 patrons. Now there's only 2.
Unless we misunderstood.
Frostbolt the Shredder,
Maybe
Explosive Sheep comes out. I ping it. Now I have 3 patrons. There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true.
yeah.
Just think about it. Think about it, guys. Think about it. All right, moving on.
Sherlock Dills is on the case. On the case, folks. So yeah, Ysera, top pick. So go Ysera.
Ysera. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the question: is which one should I make? Ysera. Make that one.
Alrighty. Our next email comes to us from Infinite Monkey number 1, because you have to number these infinite monkeys, man. You got to keep them in order.
Way better than Infinite Monkey number 2, by the way.
Yeah. And he writes, or she, "Hi chicks. From my Hearthstone experience, I found that if I don't, I find if I don't get, oh, it's got to be a mistype there. Don't get at least one of my starting cards in my hand, I tend to fall behind quickly and usually never recover. Do you think we should have more options during the mulligan phase? Example, more cards to choose from. Is this a weakness in my deck, or is this just bad luck? And should I embrace the RNG gods? Love to hear your thoughts and love the show. You guys have helped me so much with Hearthstone and in life. How have we helped you in life? That's a big accolade. And Infinite Monkey number 1 didn't continue the thought to inform us how we actually helped.
This is how he became Infinite Monkey number 1. He used to be like Infinite Monkey like 35.
He used to be fine.
And then
no.
We helped out with the life. And he was like, I made my way all the way to the top of the Infinite Monkey bracket.
I was going to say made himself. He used to be Finite Monkey.
Oh yeah, finite. And then now that monkey goes for days. Yeah. All right. We talked about this actually a long time ago. I don't know if you remember this.
I don't. And I'm also going to say that actually without seeing your deck list, it's kind of hard to tell you if it's a problem with the deck or not.
So, okay.
But that said, drop your knowledge, Dills. Drop it like
all
it's...
All right, I have to just hold on. It's the 2/3 ghoul, like I said before, not the 1/3. Then it's 3 in total. There's no 2/3 ghoul. It's the unstable ghoul. It's a 1/3 ghoul. When it dies, it does 1 damage to everything. Okay, that's enough. That's enough out of it.
Dills, gotta let it go, man.
Gotta let it go.
Indiana.
Gotta let it go.
Indiana.
Right. So, we talked about this at one point where would you lower the RNG involved in Hearthstone, where it's like who draws better wins the game if you added 1 more card to both sides, right? So the guy who goes first gets 1 more card, so he gets 4 in total, right?
Yeah.
And then the other guy gets 5, I guess it would be, right? If you go second. So just having one extra card on each side would mean that you would, on average, get a better starting hand. Both players would, on average, get a better starting hand. So both players would, on average, have their best starting hand, right? And then the game would kind of progress as if they had drawn, like both drawn well, rather than one guy got lucky and one guy got unlucky. So you'd end up with more of a skill-based result rather than a luck-based result, right?
Okay.
So we talked about that, but I think the problem there is that then you end up with kind of a game that doesn't have the ebb and flow of a card game, you know, where you should have bad draws sometimes and good draws sometimes, and that's kind of the nature of it. Where if you kind of always guarantee a good draw, that hinders the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and the thing is, and while I honestly, I have to kind of side with Infinite Monkey here because it does feel that way. It's one of these things where it's like when it's happening to you, it feels bad, and you probably don't actually have enough numbers from your own play that you've been keeping up with to see exactly how bad it is, because it's probably not as bad as you're thinking. But also, there's definitely a chance that you can come back into it, because there's a lot of decks that really stumble if they miss their 3rd or 4th or 5th drop. And there's a chance that you can actually overtake or catch back up.
True. No, absolutely. I think if this person's running into this problem a lot, the chances are they don't have enough early game in their deck.
Yeah, I mean it's. But then there was the case. You know, I mentioned earlier my bad luck with Mech Mage. Like when I first went to go play it, I sat down with Joss because she'd been playing a ton of it. I'm like, all right, coach me through this because I haven't really played this deck a lot. And I want to say we played 5 or 6 games in a row, and every single game I just bricked on my opening hand and just game.
Yeah, and you're like,
game,
this deck clearly
lost.
Sucks.
Yeah,
right?
And in my head, I'm like, no, clearly this works. I've seen it in enough tournaments. I've watched enough streams. I know it's a functional deck. But that deck in particular is incredibly dependent on its opening hand.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of others that you can kind of get by without. You know, the Druid decks that we both play. You know, if you're teaching someone to play this fast Druid decks for the first time, what do you tell them? Well, you want to dig for Wrath, or not Wrath. I'm messing up my own thing here. You want to find Innervate and you want to find Wild Growth. You want one of those in your opening hand. But that said, how many games have you won deals where you didn't draw one of those 2 cards in your opening hand?
Not many. I mean, that's like if the key to your deck is to get a good opener, and you don't get a good opener, you don't win.
Yeah.
If you're like not getting a good opener, if you're not getting a good opener a lot of the time, then your deck is the problem, not like Hearthstone or my bad luck.
Yeah.
You need to add more 1 and 2 drops or whatever your deck might be. Like, so the reason like Control Warrior, right, has all this late game, but Control Warrior also has Armor Smith, Cruel Taskmaster, Fiery War Axe, Acolyte of Pain, like lots of ways to deal, armoring up and shield slamming something, like lots of ways to deal with the early game, right? So you still have a lot of low cost cards. Priest is a deck that is essentially a late game deck, right? But has tons of 1s if you think about it. Like there's more 1s in a Priest deck than a lot of decks that you see.
Yeah.
And they aren't necessarily an early game deck, but they have something to do in the early turns more often than not. And if you have nothing to do in the early turns, then your deck needs improvement. That's just, you know, it's you can't make a deck that's only based on late game. And the deck that is based on late game only, the current deck that is only based on late game, which is Handlock, right? Like there's really no other deck that just always wants to pass. It's not necessarily passing. I mean, they're drawing a card. They're drawing an extra card. It's not passing.
Yeah.
They're still doing something proactive, right? But even that deck runs like Zombie Chow, right? Or like Druid runs Zombie Chow to shore up the fact that they're trying to always Wild Growth into a 4-drop or Innervate into a 4-drop. You still need to shore that up with a couple Zombie Chows or 1 Zombie Chow, right?
Yeah, it buys you time.
So,
it keeps the board manageable while you play a relatively greedy deck.
Yeah. So if Infinite Monkey, if you're running into this issue where you're never getting the cards you need at the beginning of the game, you need more cards for the beginning of the game. Your deck needs to be tilted more towards that, and then you can mulligan properly and get lucky more often. Like increase your chance of getting lucky.
Yeah.
By putting more early game in.
Yeah. Manny makes a very good point in the chat room that back when I first started getting into Paladin 2 seasons ago, it benefited greatly when I introduced a lot more early game to it and boosted it up, made it more mid-range.
That's the perfect example. Because what did Paladin do before? They hero powered on turn 2.
Yep.
That's like that was the play. Like they didn't have anything to play on.
Now
turn
it's
1
shield bot and muster. And
yeah, now you got muster, shield bot, zombie chow, all kinds of options for the early game. And now when you get to your mid to late game, which is incredibly powerful in Paladin, with cards like Tyrion and like True Silver Champion or all these cards that really do well in the late game, you could get away with that because you have the early game to get to the late game, and then your late game is better than the other guy's late game. You win.
Yeah. And handlock just kind of works because the power level of their late game is so skewed.
Well, the fact is, like, even if the other guy gets a few cards out, you can say play a 4/8 on turn 4 and probably start to clean up whatever they have on the board, right?
Yep.
And then you get really low on health, and then you drop a couple Molten Giants and taunt them both up, and they can never finish you off, and then you heal bot, and then you're good to go, and then you Draxus, and so like they give up all the early game to essentially make their late game incredibly powerful, and so it's every deck right now outside of that deck has early game that benefits them to get to the late game if that's the focus of the deck is late game. Yep. And mid range is just built on like always having a curve, right? So and then aggro will never have a bad draw, right? So
in theory,
or at least it shouldn't. Yeah,
there are those times where you just I have a slight back end of this curve, and look, I drew it. Wonderful.
And every single deck can draw bad. I mean, I played a lot of Zoo. And there's a lot of times I didn't get a 1-drop, and when you don't get a 1-drop and you're going first in Zoo, you're in a bad spot already. Yeah. Like that's how the deck functions, is to drop something on every turn. And so every deck is going to draw bad at some point. So, but like if you're drawing bad all the time, you need to look at your deck and figure out why that's happening.
Yeah. Well, that's the priest deck I've been playing. Amazing if you get Circle and Blade Master to start off with.
Yeah.
So
by the way, Resurrect and Blade Master is insane.
That's the whole point of this deck. You want to get Blade Master.
You have no early drops, right? Like outside of Cleric, that's it. And then you don't play Cleric if you have Resurrect in your hand. And
you don't, because you know what happens. It has 100% chance
you resurrect
of Cleric.
Yeah.
even if 4 other things have died, 100% chance to res that Cleric, unless what's the Keeper of Light? Who's the guy that spawns off of the new priest spell? The 1/2 gains an attack every time a character gets healed.
Light Warden.
Light Warden, yeah. That's the other thing I get all the time. Light Warden. It's like, thanks. Couldn't have been one of my 2 Blade Masters, or it's my Dark Cultist would be nice. Any of those. But yeah, no, Resurrect really fun.
It's a cool card, man. It's a really cool card.
I had one game, my personal crazy game story, where I thought stole my opponent's Tyrion, played it, died, and then resurrected the Tyrion.
Damn.
I was like, oh,
that's pretty nice, dude.
That's absurd. I wish I was streaming this.
By the way, yeah, the focus because of Resurrect has shifted from being able to like kind of kill some stuff early on with like Wild Pyromancer to just kind of surviving and then getting a really powerful turn 3, 4, 5, and 6, with like Shadow Madnesses and stuff like that, and then getting that big Resurrect. So,
yeah, it's a really fun card. It's a great injection into the game.
I'd like to see more cards like that. I want to see more. It's a graveyard, like essentially. It's a graveyard.
It's mechanic. A graveyard, and again, it's another random mechanic, but it's one that you can really play around, but you have to have it early on, otherwise.
Do you think we'll ever see the actual like searchable, like actually look through my graveyard? Like when you're playing a game of Magic against somebody, you can pick up the graveyard at any point and just like kind of.
I feel like in Hearthstone, because they're always striving to have a clean, simple UI and not have too many things to go through, and they would be afraid of a game where you might have 10+ minions in your graveyard. I feel like if it ever gave you the option, it would be like graveyard tracking. It would show you 3 random cards that are in your graveyard, and you could pick one.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Which I would love to see.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I just think like there could be some really cool stuff where I take something out of your graveyard, or things like that. Like there's a lot of ways that this can go, and that would fit into a priest deck too. Like some sort of a resurrect spell to grab something out of the other guy's graveyard.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we don't really have a necromancer. I'm like, it could work for warlock, but warlock's really about demons.
Yeah, but priest is already stealing your cards anyway. So why don't I steal one that I killed?
Oh man, that'd be so cool. That's so great. That would actually have been an interesting mechanic for Sylvanas.
Sure, yeah.
She's the Banshee Queen, always raising the undead and stuff.
That's true, yeah, raising undead, yeah.
And then,
by the way, Sylvanas in Heroes is just dominant. Dominant.
I have found that she's not nearly as strong as I originally thought she was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh god.
You can't.
Every time I play her, I top the meters in all the things. Like
really?
Yeah, I have
That's
like top XP, top damage, top siege damage, like everything.
That is definitely not the case in the games where I play or when she's on my team.
I guess I feel like I'm not ever like worried about death because I have such a cool escape mechanic that I just get in there. And there's not a lot of. She's not an assassin. She's a specialist, but she's really an assassin.
She has some serious burst damage.
Yeah.
Still not as much as Vala. I've gotten. This is one of the things I learned really early on with her is like, don't go one-on-one against Vala. Vala will just eat your lunch.
Yeah, Vala eats. Yeah. But I just an observation because
yeah.
I've been playing a lot of heroes.
I think she's good. When she first came out, like the first day I got in there and I soloed against two people. It was a Rhaegar and someone else, and I won the fight and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh, she's broken. And then people figured it out, and really.
Well, that's the thing. People realize she does so much damage, kind of like around because it all spreads.
Yep.
That's I think what people didn't know, and now they know how to play against it. But
and the other thing is, you can't just let her push a lane. You can't leave a Sylvanas alone in a lane, or she will just wreck it because she disables everything.
But I feel like she's just like, what's her weakness right now? I don't know what it is. Like, she can push lanes. She can do really good in fights. What can't she do?
She's made of paper, and her escape mechanic is actually very slow.
True, but if you're good with it, you can always use it in time, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You have to send off your Banshee Wave before you think you're going to need it.
Oh yeah.
And if you
send your Banshee Wave off, and then you go, okay, now I need it.
And if you send
so I guess it's
wrong,
difficult to use correctly.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it is. That's probably the big thing. And in fact, she just explodes if you get caught out. It's rough, but
yeah.
Anyways, want to take our last email?
Yeah, that was the tangent over. Yeah, we will always tangent.
How dare we talk about other games? How dare it made by Blizzard?
We will never trade. We will always tangent. Smork.
Involve Warcraft.
Caliban says, fair is foul and foul is fair, y'all. All right. Sure. Says, I have saved up and am only spending gold to get the BRM wings. So far, I am very glad I did so, because thus far I found them very easy. Each boss has only taken one shot or two max. I feel like I've been able to spot the way to beat them right away. Do you all feel this adventure is easier? Or do you think, much like WoW rating over time, we players are getting more savvy to mechanics? Keep on clucking on. He's not saying in this email whether they're doing heroic or regular, because regular is meant to get one shot.
I am assuming it's regular. I can only assume here that it's regular.
I one-shot every regular in Nax and every regular here, too. Like
you're a prodigy if you're just one-shotting heroic bosses the first time you go up against them.
Yeah, this has to be, I don't know. Heroics, I think some of them have been really tough from what I've heard. There's been a couple of really tough ones. The one that you have to use all your mana every turn, which I think is Baron Geddon. You have to use all your mana every turn or else he will do 10 damage to your face.
Yeah.
And also put down these light bombs on your dudes, where the light bombs will go off for 10 damage to everything on your side of the board if the creature stays alive. That's apparently a fairly tough one, but I've heard that like if you just play Mill Rogue, you just kind of beat it because you can vanish your stuff back, you can do all kinds of stuff. So, I think honestly, none of these are meant to be like incredibly bang your head against the wall tough, whether they're heroic or regular. And the regular is supposed to be kind of beat it first time, probably. And if you don't, then tune your deck and then beat it the second time.
I didn't beat Gar the first time.
Really?
No, I just didn't. I tried it with an Enraged Warrior, which made the most sense.
Yeah, sure.
And I just didn't.
But if you kill them all at the same time, or if you don't have a way to kill them all one at a time or whatever, you do take a ton of damage.
Yeah, and that's exactly what
Like
happened.
for
I had too many whirlwind effects. Like I got death rattled too early and didn't really think about the consequences of it. It's like, oh no, this brings my imminent death one turn sooner, which is very important in that. I ended up going with like a priest deck with every single thing that had silence that I could put in it.
Well, mass dispel just instantly wins you the game
Yep.
if you have that.
That's exactly what it did, and I think I even got a Cabal Shadow Priest off at some point and took one of them.
Yeah.
And that was super.
I played Kodo and mass dispel and Cabal and all that stuff. You just easily kill that one. But yeah, I mean the heroics are supposed to be kind of tough. I think there is something to the fact that we have more cards now. So there's more variety in the decks you can choose, more tools at your disposal.
Yeah.
That will make things a little bit easier if you actually tune your deck. But yeah, I don't know. Nax wasn't that hard either on regular.
Yeah,
and
there's also and he also he answered. I think he answered his own question too. They're just saying much like raiding WoW over time, you kind of get used to these kind of mechanics.
Sure.
When we went into Nax the first time, we weren't too sure what to expect. We didn't know exactly how. That it was about like these tricks. Like every single boss has this mechanic that you need to learn and exploit and build a deck around. 'Cause I remember I went to Nax just with my ladder deck. I'm like, let's do this. Yeah. And it didn't quite work out. And it's like, okay, I need to think about this and then figure it out. Oh yeah, I just need to build a custom deck that's specifically tuned for this boss.
Yeah.
And now that I know that going in, that's what I did. I crack open adventure, look at the hero power. Okay.
Make a deck.
Wrap my brain around it, make a deck.
Yep. I think though, if you really want a challenge out of this stuff, if that's what you're after, Twitch is now, I think it's through Twitch, right? They're offering prizes for the world first heroic on each wing, and I believe Chalky actually got world first on wing 2.
I believe so. And it has to be streamed on Twitch, by the way.
It has to be streamed on Twitch, and because that's your proof. And
it's through Twitch, not through Blizzard. So
yeah, and this is through Twitch. So if you're looking for a challenge, do it before anybody else does it and figures out what deck is good for it. And there you go. That's your challenge.
Yep. Gotta get that world first, man.
Yeah, world first.
I'm waiting to see.
I'll never get a world first anything.
All those, me neither. It's not going to happen. Well, they took it.
And I don't care.
They took it away, and wow, it's not a thing anymore.
Really?
The achievement.
The achievement stuff. Yeah. But people still do it.
Yes. But it's the community to keep tabs of all these things. So, not something I'll ever get either. Deals. It's okay. We can start the No World First Club. So, anyway, that is I believe that is going to do it for this episode. What do you think, Dales? Any closing thoughts?
That was fun. I missed Jocelyn, but good times.
Yeah, and of course, again, Skype not keeping things. I'm getting Skype noises. Wonderful.
Sorry, that was my message to you.
Yeah,
someone knocking on my door, so I gotta see what's going on.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'll be right back while you do the outro part.
No worries.
Back before that's done. I
will start it here. As always, want to thank our wonderful patrons who support us over at patreon.com/TAC. Thank you guys so much. Got to talk a lot about the patrons, giving some talks to classes today, because folks are like, well, how do you make money doing this weird thing called the podcast? It's like, well, thanks to the folks at Patreon, it's been quite easy, and it's relatively non-invasive. So if you like the Angry Chicken and you want to support it, you can go to patreon.com/TAC to do so. If you can't afford it, totally fine. Show will always be free, always be here. So check it out. Thanks to these patrons this week. Thank you very much to Richard T, John, Alex T, Tyran G, and Eric L. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it. So thank you very much. Also, if you're an iTunes listener, Stitcher, anywhere you're grabbing podcasts, make sure to leave us reviews. We really appreciate it. It helps us a lot, actually, kind of move up the ranks and find some new listeners. The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. All of our past live shows and videos can be found over at youtube.com/StarcastShow. Our Angry Chicken t-shirt is for sale over at /loot.com. That's SLASH loot.com. You can follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. We record the show live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern over at twitch.tv/AMoveTV or on the mobile live stream over at alphageekradio.com. Also, a big thanks to Brian Griffith for our intro music. His work can be found over at briangriffithmusic.com. And Dills, where can folks find you?
You can find me on the Instance every Friday. It's the World of Warcraft show, so you don't have to. And It's not a lot to talk about in WoW these days. We're in the serious mid-expansion, mid-second patch lull right now. I don't know if you've experienced it.
How have we not had a patch at some point that has finally unlocked to non-jungle?
It's weird though because
this huge chunk of the continent we just can't walk into.
You haven't been raiding that much though, right?
Well, no, I haven't because
you're probably not experiencing it quite. But do you do like LFR and stuff? Like
I do.
LFR.
I do. I'm pretty much raid ready thanks to raid gear. I could fill in at a moment's notice, but I like to raid with friends, and your guild's packed to the freaking gills.
Yeah, I know it's kind of insane, but it's just it's just a weird time. But we still get together and we just kind of shoot the shit for a while. Me and Scott and Patrick and Terpster, and like last show we actually had a really good time. Even though there wasn't really much news. So
is Patrick really bored with?
He's really he's he's so fun to podcast with because he's so funny.
It's really fun to tease him on other podcasts that he listens to, because then you see things on Twitter the next day. It's like, oh, thanks for that, guys. Thank you very much.
But so it's an interesting time, but things will pick up as they always do. And the show's been around forever. The game's been around forever. We're not going anywhere. So check that out Fridays. Check me out on Twitch. My schedule is essentially Monday before this show. Thursday, I do Heroes or Hearthstone until raid time, and then I either stream raid or I don't, depending on how I feel about my computer's connection. And then usually one day over the weekend. Also, if you're in the Bay Area, if you're a Bay Area person, I am the last announced Kraken Con special guest. So Kraken Con is a convention that is centered around essentially like anime, cartoons, comics, but they also now are featuring more gaming stuff. And it's April 25th and 26th at the Oakland Convention Center. And I will be there both days. It's a fairly cheap con if like you're into cons. It's like $30 for both days or something like that. And should be cool. I'm going to be doing some talking. I'm going to be hanging out doing like a fireside gathering and stuff. So if people want to come and just play Hearthstone with me, I'll be doing that. And if that's what you're into, just come out and play some Hearthstone and get your card back, or just hang out and play Hearthstone. I'll be doing that. I think I'm going to get some help from some of the Hearthlytics guys and maybe some of the Folsom Street Foundry game night guys. So I'm going to try to get a little entourage, a little Dills-tourage, as it were, and just kind of hang out and have a good time the whole weekend. So if you're in the Bay Area, I encourage you to check it out and come out and support that and me. I don't even know who's there. I've never been. I don't know anything about it. It's going to be kind of embarrassing if I go to talk and no one's there. So you should come if you're in the Bay Area.
I'm worried about the same thing tomorrow, man. No one can show up. I'd just be like, all right.
Like, all right, well,
here we are.
I guess I'll just talk. I'll just talk into this room. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like podcasting is like we talk into essentially an empty room, but we know there's people on the other side.
Right. And it's an incredibly tailored audience.
Yeah,
it's like your folks ever listen to the show? It's funny because every now and then mine will. They're like, oh, we hear it's doing good. We'll listen to it. And then I get a call from them. They're like, no idea what you just talked about.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, we know that you guys are here. Well, chat room, first of all, but Twitter, responses on iTunes, all that stuff. But it's a little scary to go out into the real world. And then, like, remember Nerdtacular? We were like, we'll do a live Angry Chicken and we'll see what happens. And then people were there, and that was awesome. We didn't know what to expect. We thought there might be nobody there.
Oh, and the same thing happened with our damn bowling party, which we did one the year before, and like 10 people showed up?
It was basically me and you hanging out.
Me and you and like 10 of my other...
Kyle was there and other people, like people that are just our friends, right?
That we're used to seeing, and a couple other guys that I knew from the old StarCast hangout days. But this past year, we're like, oh yeah, well, come on out and show up. The bar had been taken over with chickens, basically, for lack of a better term for our listeners. And
I hope that there's some sort of similar scenario. It definitely won't be like that because it's not necessarily my scene, but I'm just excited to go out, and I'll be giving a talk essentially on podcasting and how to turn what is your passion, because I know a lot of people are really into podcasting and want to maybe start their own podcast. How do you go from I like something a lot to I talk about it and people actually give a crap? How do you go from A to B? And that's
sounds like your and I's talks are going to have a lot of cross sections that match up.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. You should send me your notes when you're done.
It's a surprising amount of trying to find an eloquent way of saying, well, I pretty much flew by the seat of my pants.
Well, that was actually one of the things that I knew I was going to say was I don't have anything prepared because I never have anything prepared, and it's worked so far. But yeah, I don't know, we're going to have a conversation. And it'll be good times. So check out KrakenCon, everybody. I think it's just KrakenCon.com. Yeah, KrakenCon.com. There you go. So
Wonderful.
I'm going to throw that in the show notes and into chat in case people want to see it.
Everyone go check that out. Go see deals, folks. I was going to say deals, but there's
there's going to be great deals. Big time deals.
that's like Deals' southern cousin. I'm Deals.
Hey, I'm Deals. Deals is southern cousin. Deals.
I make good chicken. You can follow me on Twitter at Garrettart, at GARRETTART, or over at nomoonart.com. That's my graphic design portfolio. And over at Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast. Follow Jocelyn at GIS Gamer, folks. Check out Gamers Den for her. Check out our sponsors, doghouse-systems.com. The code to use is TAC. It'll get you a free 120 gigabyte solid state drive added onto your already amazing gaming PC. So go check them out. We thank them for their support. We thank you for listening, and we will see you all next week for episode 78 of The Angry Chicken. Job's done.
Job's done. Job's done. Yes!
It doesn't work. It's not the same.